Okay, let's take a look at this shot here. The reason why it's playing back stuttery is because these files are so massive, my computer can't play them back in real time. So the first thing I do when I color is I try to get the black point right. So I'm going to bring down my blacks here, and then I bring up my highlights to get a good exposure on this shot. Bring down the midtones a little bit, get a little more contrast. And I'm going to add some saturation back into this shot because the red camera shoots things kind of unsaturated. They just assume you're going to add color in later, which I am right here. The resolve is node based. That's our first node where we did a basic color correction. Now we're going to add another node. And I don't feel there's enough contrast in this shot, so let me bring down our blacks a little bit too much. Bring up our midtones a little bit so we can see our talent. Let's add another node. So we've got some funky green, yellow on the floor here. So what I'm going to do now is hue versus hue, and I'm going to try to turn that greenness into some blueness to match the background wall. And you can see what happens very purpley. That's no good. Can bring it up a little too yellow. And we can bring it right around there. Get it a little more blue than green. That's a little better. I'm going to widen this out a little bit. There's some yellow in there that is annoying me as well. So let's see if we can get rid of that, some of that yellow right there. There we go. Turning that yellow into blue. Before, very green, very yellow. After, blue. So let's add another node. I love that blue in the background, but I want to make it pop even more. I want to bring up those blues. There we go. This image is going to really pop off the screen. So that's before, that's after. See how much more blue there is before, after. Let's take a look at our talent. Our talent's looking pretty good. We had a very good makeup artist on this shoot, and his skin tone looks perfect. But his face is looking a little dark. Let's see if we can brighten up his face. So I can draw a circle. I can put it on his face. I can track that shape to his face, so that shape will move with his face. Hit the magic button here. Widen it out a little bit, soften the edges of that circle, and I can brighten up his face just a little bit. So that's on, that's off, on, off. You can see his face is lit better. A colorist will call this relighting a scene. It's a subtle touch, but he is the person speaking in the scene, so we want to give a good look at his face. Play it back. Our circle's tracking quite nicely to his face. 8 sleep. What I'm going to do here is highlight this logo. So I'm going to make another circle, and I will track it to this logo. Very similar thing I did to his face. So let's track it to the bed, and I'll be able to go in, put some blur around it, soften up the edges, and brighten up the logo. No client in the history of client has ever said, my logo is too readable. Make it less readable. There we go. Brighten it up just a little bit. So we relit that logo, fix the shape a little bit, and that's off. That's on. So it looks like we put a light on set on that logo. We did it in post, but it looks a lot better. So we add another node. I don't think that the bed is separated enough from the background. So I'm going to draw a shape around the bed, track the shape to the bed. Now we can adjust the shape a little bit that is tracked. And I'm going to add an outside node. I can make the background darker. I'm exaggerating here. That's way too dark, but you can see the part of the picture that this is affecting. So let's bring down the blacks a little bit, blur it some more, and we'll play it back. So you can see the background is darker and our eye is drawn towards the talent and to the bed, not so much the background anymore. That's before and that's after. Let's add another node. So this bottom of the bed here, it's kind of gray and kind of nasty, not very appealing. We'll draw a shape around it. I'm going to track the shape. And just like we relit his face and we relit the logo, we're going to relight the bottom of that bed. And we can bring up the brightness. That's before. And that's after. It looked kind of dingy and gray and drab before. Now it looks nice and lit. All right, so I'm looking at this shot here, and because we darkened up the background a little bit, the Aid Sleep logos are a little dark on the left and right-hand side. So I can make a mask around this one and track it. And I can adjust the shape, blur the outside of that shape, blur the inside of that shape, helps blend the colors better. And I can increase the brights, off, on. I just made the logos a little bit brighter. And I can do the same thing on the other side. Draw a shape. And then I can go to the tracker. Track that shape. Now I can blur the outside. Blur the inside. This just blends the colors better. And I can brighten it up so we can read the logos a little bit better. Now, this floor looks kind of disgusting. It's a little dingy, a little blue, a little green. I can add another node, and I'm going to draw a shape around the floor, and I'll track that shape. You can track backwards as well as forwards. Doesn't matter which way you go. And the shape tracks nicely. I'm going to adjust it a little bit here, make it fit a little bit better. And I'm going to make it darker. And there's still some green yellows in there. So I'm going to turn the saturation all the way down, take all the color out of it. So there it is with all the colors zapped out. It looks better, still looks a little weird. That's before, that's after. And I'm going to try to put some blues into that floor. So I've gotten rid of the offending yellows and I'm adding some blue back in. Before, after. So this is how a colorist would approach a shot. This only took a couple minutes to watch. This one shot took me 45 minutes to color correct. And this was just one shot. And a lot of people ask me, how come we can't color correct every single second of footage that we shot? We certainly can color correct all the footage. It's called the best light or a one light pass, but you're not going to be able to give it this amount of detail and this amount of attention for each shot on a shoot. I mean, it could be 90 minutes of footage. It would just take forever to get it this detailed. This is where we ended up, and that's what we started with. Quite a difference. This is why we go to color correction, to make our clients have the best images possible. And it's a process. It takes a while, but it's worth it.